Hey everyone, episode 4 of the PSX Show is here. As by request, we're going to start with Final Fantasy and the older Final Fantasies. Everybody wants me to talk about them and kind of want to have in my collection what I think about them. We'll move on to, I want to talk about the rising cost of game development and Batman and why, no matter how great it is, obviously I can't seem to get into it. I don't know why, but we'll talk about it. Alright, this is the Final Fantasy collection that I have. People wanted to talk about it. They love the older Final Fantasies. I'm not including 13 because we already talked about it. Basically, this is what people want in high definition form if I'm reading the role-playing community correctly. It just seems that it doesn't seem all that complicated to me to make something like these in high definition form. And if we, if we look at which, most people consider this to be one of the greatest RPGs of all time. And we've been talking about a remake for a long, long time. I don't understand why they won't do it, number one. Financially, I guess that's a reason. But if you're not going to do that, why not at least give us this only in a beautiful high definition? Let's face it. Whatever you felt about Final Fantasy 13, Square Enix always proves themselves as being a step ahead in CGI. Between these three, the PlayStation classics are the ones that people really remember. And they say, oh, well, things started to go off with Final Fantasy X. I don't agree with that at all. I thought it was great. 10-2, you know what? We can put the machismo aside. And just because it was all female characters, I don't care. That game was great. And 12, I thought I would hate. But it was very clearly still an RPG, even though it wasn't straight turn-based like these older ones were. Because it was still an RPG. 13 didn't feel like much of an RPG. It felt more like action-adventure. But I think what people want, and I really prize this collection because we don't have this anymore, is the style of gameplay. I know people say it's archaic, but the people who like it really don't care that it's archaic. They'll admit it and say, that's fine, but this is what I like. The question is that group enough for Square to turn a profit? Obviously they think it's not. They think they need to continue to advance. But I'm telling you, you take some of these older ones and you put that gloss over them, you're going to get something really, really, really special. And I guarantee you it would save Square Enix from losing, another 90% off their profit or whatever it was in the first quarter. This is your legacy, Square Enix, right here. Okay, it basically sort of stopped with 12. You can reclaim this, I promise. Just do it. Final Fantasy Tactics. This is my favorite game of all time. Some of you know it. I'm sure some, especially younger people, probably laugh. But what this, for some reason, I can always pick this up and play it. I know there's usually one game for people that it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It doesn't matter what else they're playing. They always have this bizarre urge to put this in and play. They may not finish it, but they just want to play it, and this is one of them. I could go talk for hours why. But I just wanted to put this out there, and if you haven't played it, it's on the network. Get it now. This, right here. Best game of all time. Okay. Alright, I don't know what's wrong with me, but there's certain things I just don't get. By all rights, there are games I really should love. Elder Scrolls is one of them. Talk about it a lot. Every single time one comes out, I just think I should do it, and then I go for 10 hours, and I can't make it. Batman is another one. Arkham Asylum is a great game, and there's no doubt about that. I played it, or played for a while, and I couldn't do it. Arkham City, I'm sure, is going to be fantastic. I still can't do it. I know I'm not going to like it. And the only explanation I have is I've never really been into superheroes. I never was really into the comic books. I never really read them. And early on during, the golden age of gaming, the superhero games were awful. Maybe that sort of soured me on them, no matter how good they get. I really don't know what the reason is, but there's got to be something wrong with me. I can't figure it out. It's going to come out. It could get a 10, and I won't want to finish it. And it's got everything I love. The action, the adventure, there's some stealth. If this one's going to be a little more open, I don't know. There's something wrong with me. That's all I can say. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the rising cost of game development. Not so much about the multiplayer and the online passes that they're doing, but more of just in general, games just cost a tremendous amount to make. If you ever listen to any developers talking about it in all these interviews, all they're saying is it costs us a lot of money to do this, and they never, very rarely do we get the final budget number, but it's often very high. And we just heard the whole thing with LA Noire. and Team Bandai, and apparently the problems they had, 7 years, and according to the accusations, I'm not saying it's true, but according to accusations, the working conditions were really terrible because they just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and 100-hour work weeks, things like that. At some point, things are going to have to come to a head, and someone's going to have to pay more somewhere. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a rise in the cost of games. Whether it's probably not going to be this generation, but next generation, possibly, maybe another $10. Last generation PS2 and Xbox games were $50. The generation before that, PlayStation games were $40, even though Nintendo 64 ones were higher. So it's, if they keep going in these $10 increments, maybe. But we're also reaching a point where new systems, maybe Apple does something, who knows. And there may be different focuses on these systems. We don't know exactly what these are going to be. It's not just going to be another upgrade in graphics. They may take a completely new direction. So it all depends on where they're going to go. But for now, game development's getting really, 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 really big, $50, $60, $70 million budgets. And they need to really work hard to make them sell correctly, to make them sell enough to make a profit. I don't know where we're going to go. Bottom line is, prices are going to have to go up somewhere, somehow, if we keep this trend. Okay, this is part of my collection. You've seen other parts of it, like the PlayStation 1, and I also have a few Super Nintendo cartridges in a shoebox, but this is the majority of it. The sides are just DVDs, but we've got PS3, 360, PS2, and this is one of those things I'm afraid is going to go away. This digital boom that's coming, and everyone likes the idea of having these games in just basically digital folders. They don't have to go to the store, they don't take up any space, that type of thing. There's benefits to it, certainly. But I think gamers have collections and they like their collections. They like something physical and tangible. This is kind of like their legacy, their past. This is what they've accumulated. This is what they've done. And I know it's sort of just they're proud of their collections. And I just can't see being proud of a folder full of titles on a screen. I'm not getting that. I'm afraid that people in later generations won't care. And this type of thing, I like it. Sue me, I like being able, I have to drive to the store, oh well. And I have to store them, but that's the point of a collection. People have collections of all kinds. I don't think any of them want them changed into something that's on a video screen. They want to be able to look at them. This is the whole point. And I just like the idea of having this in front of me. I like the idea of going and just selecting a game I want to play from my collection, from my stack. It's a different feeling. It's a different sensation. We've got a long way to go, I think, before it completely goes away. But I'm just afraid it will. And you can change all you want. You can put the digital in if you. I'll probably get some that way. But when it comes to games I want, don't take this away from me. Okay, that's it for this time. Hope you enjoyed it. Next time, I might talk about some extra giveaways we're doing. Probably have to do with the show itself. Deus Ex Human Revolution and Bioshock Infinite. So, Bioshock Infinite is certainly one of my favorites that's going to be coming up next year. So stay tuned for that. See you next time.